That down. Let's move on to this. It's now official. Chris Evans is coming back to the MCU. Not that he ever left. It wasn't that long ago that he was in Endgame. But Chris Evans has, let's say, his next appearance is now set, where at the very latest, according to Deadline, we're getting him in Avengers Doomsday. Deadline wrote this. Chris Evans is coming back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Again, it's not like he ever really left. For the Joe and Anthony Russo directed Avengers Doomsday. At this point in time, the role isn't entirely clear, but sources say Anthony Mackie, Sam Wilson's character, will also return as Captain America. Evans in the Captain America costume seems less likely. However, it wouldn't be a shock if he reprises the role of Steve Rogers. All right. So back after Endgame, and everybody said, well, that's it. Robert Downey Jr. is done. Chris Evans is done. I said a million times, mark my words, Robert Downey Jr. will be back and Chris Evans will be back. It may not be today. It may not be tomorrow. It may not be this year. It may not be next year. It may not be in 2 years. But both Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans will be back.
28 years later.
28 years later. To which the vast majority of people said I was stupid. And normally, you'd be right. But in this case, I was right. Yeah, he's back. He's back. Now, who's he going to be?
I hear he's going to be
a level 4 naughty lister.
He's definitely a level. Maybe he's just Steve Rogers, where they pluck him back out from, when he went back to take back the Infinity Stones.
Uh-huh.
Maybe he's old man Steve Rogers. I don't personally think he's going to be old man Steve Rogers, but that's a possibility.
That would be cool. And he goes into war.
Hey! But he's still got the super soldier serum in him, right? He's like this old man. He's like beating the shit out of people. That would be funny to see. Come here, Sonny. And he just like loafs the guy. So there's another option. In the comics, some of you are aware of this. Though 2 years ago, Marvel kind of shocked the comic book world when they revealed that at least a version of Captain America had always been a Hydra agent.
Yeah.
Where he says, you see this big iconic image, this great image on the cover of him, Captain America standing there with big bulging man, says, "Hail Hydra." So maybe this is like that version.
Oh, no.
I still think it's probably, I would put the odds on it just being it's the KISS approach, right? It's the keep it simple, stupid, the most obvious answer. I think he's going to be the Steve Rogers we know. Back from wherever, not having grown old, all that kind of stuff. They'll work their Marvel nonsense to make that happen.
I feel there's going to be a callback. My favorite part of Avengers 1 was just that opening scene where he's hitting the bag and they're like, you should have left it in
the world needs you.
Yeah, you should have left it in the ocean. Every time he says that, I get goosebumps just because it's like, all right, time to go back to duty, right? So I think they might try to do a throwback to that where he's just been living his life and they need him.
Yeah, they need him to have to bring him back. I mean, that, again, a possibility.
That'd be great.
I don't know. I don't think he necessarily retakes back the mantle of
Captain America.
Absolutely
not. I don't.
But he's Nomad. He's Steve Rogers at this point, right? And that's fine. I think this was a no-brainer for them to do. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Aura. Let's be honest, what most people really want for the holidays is to see their favorite people more often. That's why this year, the best gift you can give, besides plane tickets, is an Aura digital picture frame. Named the #1 digital photo frame by Wirecutter, Aura frames are incredibly smart and easy to use, allowing you to upload unlimited photos and videos directly from your phone to the frame. Plus, you can order the frame online and preload it with photos and videos using the Aura app, so it's ready to go right out of the box. Ann and I have had ours for a while now, and we absolutely love it. Because you may not know, Ann and I like to take a lot of pictures, including a lot of our dogs, Ann's recent trip to Paris, and a whole bunch of other things. And we love having it right on display right there in our living room. So save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get 35% off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames by using promo code Campea at checkout. That's AURA frames.com, promo code Campea. This deal is exclusive to listeners, so get yours now in time for the holidays. Terms and conditions apply. Now, I have to address this, because this, I'm just going to say it, pathetic nonsense. Ever since they announced Robert Downey Jr. was going to come back, right? There's this ridiculous take out there that, oh, that's just Marvel being desperate. I'm sorry. That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. It is one of the straight up dumbest things I've ever heard. And listen, the smartest people in the world say dumb things. If you were one of the people who said this really dumb thing, that doesn't mean I think you're dumb. I say really dumb things. And I'm a pretty smart guy. You're probably a pretty smart person. But make no mistake about it. Commenting and saying, this seems desperate is pathetically stupid. It's like you literally have the two most important, popular, beloved, and narrative central characters and performers in those roles in the entire franchise. And you think using them is desperate? What kind of logic is that?
But they don't even. They don't even answer
it's like
how.
saying this: the Kansas City Chiefs, right?
Yeah.
Many of you know sports. You know what I'm going to say here. They got a multiple-time MVP. Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback, right? Who's Kansas going to play at quarterback this week? Coach Andy Reid says, "Well, we're gonna start Patrick Mahomes." Oh, that's desperate. You must be desperate if you're starting Patrick Mahomes. What? Why wouldn't we start one of the best players the league has ever seen? Why wouldn't we do that? It's also like this. You know, when they brought Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire out of retirement to appear in Spider-Man No Way Home, nobody went, oh, that's desperate. Oh, that's so desperate.
Those Spider-Man movies are failing.
Yeah, they must be flailing. Oh, flail all over the place. This is so desperate. No, you have beloved characters and performers who played them. And you know, somebody in the live chat I was interacting with them a little bit. Somebody brought up in the live chat, it's like, well, why don't they do new stuff instead of just bringing back whatever? And it's like, are you kidding me? Marvel has almost to a fault. I actually think it's been a weakness. Marvel has been doing nothing over the past few years except giving us new characters.
We don't ever see anyone we've seen before.
Yeah, like between Agatha, Moon Knight, Ms. Marvel, Shang-Chi, we've now got Ironheart coming, we got Marvel coming.
And none of that will matter when the Sentry is introduced. None of that will matter at all.
When Sentry. But my point is that Marvel has spent the last couple of years flooding us with new stuff, with like new characters and all this kind of stuff. And I've always argued, like a good sports team, yeah, you got to have a good mixture of the young rookies and the seasoned veterans. You got to have a balance. You got to have a mix of them. And the reality is that the MCU has been losing a lot of their higher profile characters. And so this notion of like, well, let's see, we've got our two most beloved, most central, and most important characters we've ever had in the MCU. Better not put them in the next movie. I don't understand the logic behind anybody's thinking on that. You've got to tell me the logic behind that, because that thinking makes absolutely zero sense.
Yeah, and of course,
none.
And of course, if Robert Downey Jr. is back, I had a feeling Chris Evans will probably be back too, because it's like they go hand in hand sometimes. But also,
they're yin and yang.
Just the stories of the Secret Wars and Secret Wars mainly. You have to expect that a lot of characters are coming back.
Listen, we heard a report a while ago that I think what was the number that Kevin Feige said, like 70 characters?
I thought it was like more 80.
I thought it was like, either 60 or 70. Either way, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of characters. And maybe this will truly be the swan song of characters like Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. But this idiotic notion, this absolutely absurd, backward thinking, horrendously stupid notion that, oh yeah, bringing the most popular, important characters into the movie, boy, that's desperate.
Well, I could only see that if Marvel was one after another was DCU, just a downward trending in income, and their movies were failing. They're like, we got to do something quick. Just bring back Robert Downey Jr. It's like, They're on an upward trajectory.
No,
They've
listen-
had some misses, but
And what happened when they announced that? Okay, forget how the movie turned out. Forget the result. What was the response of people when they announced that Michael Keaton was going to be in Flash as Batman? There was fucking international celebration, as well there should have been. I didn't see anybody going, well, bringing back Michael Keaton, well, it's desperate. I never saw anybody say, I'm sure somebody out there said it. I didn't see anybody say that.
Even if he was casted as Zod, I think people just love Michael Keaton, like going back in that universe. But here's the thing with Robert Downey Jr. and Doomsday. This is a big character, right? First of all, then you gotta find an actor that's willing to commit the time and effort to actually being this character. But also, you gotta they trust Robert Downey Jr. That's one of the big things I think. They trust him with this character, and that's why it was like, okay, if they want to go with Robert, then let's go with him. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and
That's
again-
the way I feel. I trust whatever the decisions they
Yeah,
they
they're going to make it. Look, when the team of Kevin Feige and the Russo brothers have worked together, the results have been nothing but pure magic. I mean, that's just the fact. When Kevin Feige and the Russo brothers work together, it's been nothing but pure magic. And look again, when Rogue One, which most people love Rogue One, when we saw that Darth Vader was going to be it, people go, "What? They're bringing in Darth Vader? That's desperate." No, he's a beloved character that's important to the universe, and he had one of the greatest scenes ever in a Star Wars film with that damn hallway scene. It's one of the
Also,
greatest ever.
Where's my Rogue 2?
Yeah, where's Rogue 2?
I love that movie so much. I want Rogue 2. Let's go.
yeah. I don't know. Do you remember even in Deadpool? I know he's playing the Human Torch, but remember he had some of that red ribboning under his sleeve. So before he was revealed, there was
Oh,
a
yeah.
pop in the audience because they thought it was Chris Evans
Well,
as Captain
Deadpool
America.
himself popped, right? Deadpool himself thought he was Captain
Yeah.
America.
No,
Yeah.
that's-
Right? Which
that's such a good
was
scene.
great. Again, listen, it's all about balance. Absolutely going into something on Avengers Endgame and Secret Wars, you should have a balance, a mixture of a bunch of new characters and a bunch of veteran characters and a bunch of new performers in the MCU and a bunch of veterans. Balance. Like, if you want to really get the new characters over, you're going to have a hard time doing that without the veteran characters and veteran performers as well. And like I said, to me, that's been one of the weaknesses of Marvel the last 4 or 5 years, has been it's just like this over glut of new character, new character, new character, new character, new character, new character, to the point that that the MCU, a lot of people have commented, hasn't really felt recognizable the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So
And it's such a-
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But if you don't see that bringing Chris Evans back, bringing Robert Downey Jr. back is an absolute unmitigated win,
Yeah.
I think you're borderline insane crazy.
I mean, that was a great analogy because it's like, we're about to go because the Avengers films are almost like they're event things, like the playoffs or the finals in a a sporting event, and it'd be like, okay, we got to win this, but you know what? The audience, the crowd here doesn't want to see us be desperate. Bench our best player. It's like, it doesn't even make sense. And it's a lose-lose situation because people complain, oh, well, they killed off Robert Downey Jr.'s, not Robert Downey Jr., but Iron Man. And then they got old man Captain America. Now all we have is Thor. And this is kind of like sad. And we don't like this. And then they bring those guys back and they're like, well, that's desperate. Well, which was it?
Yeah,
did you not want him or did
no,
you?
Listen, here's the thing. In movie fandom, listen, every single one of you watching this and every single person in this room right now, including me, have been guilty of this, okay? We're all guilty of this. Don't pretend like we're not. But every once in a while, we say a trendy thing. We see other people say, oh, it's desperate. Okay, explain to me how it's desperate. It's not. It's brilliant. To bring these guys, these are core important figures in the MCU. And to bring them back, just like if there's a big multi-dimensional war going on, and you have the top hero ever in your universe, Captain America, Steve Rogers, it doesn't make narrative sense that somehow, some way, he wouldn't be a part of that story. Narratively, it makes no sense. You would have to go out of your way to fudge up logic to say that character wouldn't be a part of some multi-dimensional fight for existence, right?
Right. But for me, I still believe in building up these new characters. Their stories suck. Their movies suck, right? But like, as long as they don't do the Rock thing or Hogan thing, you know how WWE will bring in the Rock the Hogan, and then sometimes maybe they'll win the title or like that. I don't think they should The Rock this, like, meaning bring them back and then them just go away for a long time and then just.
Yeah, no, here's what I think. I love your analogy of The Rock and the Hulk because many of you, I'm sure, don't follow wrestling, so you won't know what we're talking about. But honestly, prior to it happening, I thought them setting up that Dwayne The Rock Johnson Hulk Hogan fight at WrestleMania was one of the stupidest ideas ever. I really did. I thought that was a dumb idea. You're dragging this old ass Hulk Hogan back into the ring. Rock at that point was kind of past his prime. He's still great, but he was past his prime. All that kind of stuff, and like that's your main thing. But what happened?
It's the greatest WrestleMania match.
It ended
of all
up
time.
being one of the most celebrated WrestleMania matches ever.
Ever.
The roof on that place was
Ever.
blown off. Everybody lost their minds in it.
They were all like, "It's so desperate."
It's crazy. And you hear The Rock and Dwayne Johnson and Triple H talk about that match today, about like something magic happened in that ring when it happened. But that's what they're going for.
Right.
And that's the thing. You mix in new characters.
Right.
You mix in new actors and new faces with veteran actors and veteran faces. And you create these iconic stories. And I'm sorry, but you're clueless if you think that's desperate. It's going to work. It's going to blow the doors off. This might be the new biggest film of all time. This is going to be a massive success, and there are still going to be people who sit in the corner. This thing will make $2 billion, and people will love it, and you're still going to have people sitting in the corner. Yeah, but it was desperate.
Desperate all the way to the bank.
Give me a break. You don't make yourself sound smart when you say
It's
that.
a business. It's not about anything other than making money. I mean,
Anyway.
Yeah.
they're
It's
doing what
about
they think
mixing
will
the old
benefit
and the
them.
new. It's about balancing the old and the new. That's the only way you can move forward. And you know what? Here's the other thing. I think this is the way. Like I said, I think Marvel has dropped the ball with bringing in these new characters by just flooding us with new characters. You need the veteran faces to transition us. I think this is a great way to put over the new characters. Right? There's no better way to put over new characters than with the help of the veteran
Just
characters.
like in wrestling.
Just like in wrestling, right? You go out on your back,
Right.
right? And that's what I think is going to happen here. So I think this is fabulous. I'm excited for it. This is a guaranteed win for them. This is Joe and Anthony Russo with Kevin Feige, with Robert Downey Jr., with Chris Evans, and with like 60 or 70 other characters, most of them probably going to be new, to put over and to really transition us. Because here's the problem. The problem with Endgame was this. It was a great crescendo to the Infinity Saga. It was. But it did nothing to transition the MCU into its next phase. I think even the most hardcore lovers of Endgame will acknowledge that. It was a great crescendo, but it didn't do any, and you felt that the last 5 years, we felt that they never really transitioned us. It
Yep.
just, now here's your next
Yep.
thing. Everybody meet Shang-Chi.
That's why
Yeah.
I didn't. That's why I passed on the movies that followed and series that followed Endgame for a little bit because I was still getting over that movie. Like, it was like such a journey to get to Endgame, but then they didn't leave us with something to hold on to. It felt like it's just they cleaned the slate and then, hey, like these characters.
Yeah, just here's all these new characters just like them. And I think Endgame, hopefully, Endgame and Secret Wars will not only be a great end to a hit and miss multiverse saga, but hopefully will also serve as a smooth transition into what comes after. Because that's something Endgame didn't quite do. And we'll see how it all turns out. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? We've got Chris Evans. Look, we've been saying forever he's going to come back, and now it's official. He's back. Not that he ever really went anywhere. Is there anybody out there who doubts that Doomsday will make $2 billion? I'm just curious. Is there anybody out there who doubts at this point that Endgame is going to be a $2 billion film?
Only because it's desperate. If it wasn't desperate, it would be $3 billion.
It would make Dwayne The Rock. See, Dwayne The Rock Johnson was brave to only make less than $400 million. Yeah. I'm just curious. Whatever you guys think about it, though, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.